Hello everyone, it's me, Wardo's Fire, bringing you another video today. We're going to talk today about the beast being dethroned, and I'm going to show you once again how it's another David and Goliath situation. So I'm going to teach you something that you don't learn in church today, and it's going to be quite educational. So let's get ready and get started. You have the European Union right now, who formed the United Nations. United Nations literally means one world order, or your new world order bullshit. It is the headquarters of it. Now, Europe made the European Union, and many people at the time thought, okay, this is a 10-head situation from the Bible, and that Europe will become the Antichrist system. Here's the funny part. I always told you that God works in the details, and that God does something that seems trivial at the time, but it turns out to be a gigantic, enormous impact on the world. Okay, what we are seeing today is David standing in front of Goliath again. The European Union is Goliath, and Greece is David. Very simply put, the European Union never existed on stable grounds. The bankers kind of forced countries into it, and then they made it look like the grass is greener on the other side. Come join us. Basically like the devil seducing these countries into the European zone. Now, when these countries joined the European Union, kind of by force, they noticed that their nation was being plundered right away. Resources were disappearing. Now, why is Ukraine so important to the world right now? Ukraine supplies over 80% of all wheat to the European nations. If America can get their hands on the fucking Ukraine, then America can introduce Monsanto to the Ukraine, bringing in GMO to the European nation. Europe doesn't want it. Do you understand that? America has the GMO right now. It's bordered in America. It's staying in America, and nobody here wants it. But if America can get control of the Ukraine, they can put missiles right on the Russian border and deliberately provoke Putin to war. And they can start bringing in GMO. So basically a double whammy. You're all watching the Greeks suffer right now. And you probably even condemn them. Shame on you for that. You should be cheering at them and applauding them, and maybe even trying to send them money if you can. The Greeks are our heroes right now. They are the heroes that are the only country right now in Europe that is putting a stop to the beast, the NWO. You see, Russia is putting a stopper on the NWO. And that is leading to other countries standing up, making referendums against this NWO system. If you don't believe me, look at Portugal, Russia, Ireland, Iceland, Spain. All countries in Greece have decided they don't want to actually take part in the European Union and felt more forced. Russia didn't take part of it, but Russia is becoming a border right upon the European Union, where it's no longer just little countries that are bordering Russia. It's actually becoming the entire European Union that's bordering Russia, which is actually provoking to war. We have countries today that are watching Greece suffer. And just like I said before, it is only during suffering do people get together and gather together and start working for the better of the human race. People are sick of watching Greece suffer. We also know that Greeks can never repay their debt. And according to the Bible, they shouldn't even have any debt. But since they do, let's talk about that. The American debt is 10,000 times worse than the Grecian one. So I wouldn't be sitting there condemning Greece right now if I were you as an American. You know, it reminds me of the story of the she-bear in the Bible, that people were making fun of this handicapped person, and a bear came by and scratched him and ate him apart. Anyways, point being very simply is, Greece right now is suffering for the entire European Union. They are becoming the Christ of the European Union in the sense of the sacrificial lamb. They are now, if they can hold up against the NWO right now and leave the NWO and leave the European Union, I guarantee you, Iceland, Spain, Portugal, and Ireland will soon to be following. And when that happens, the collapse of the beast system will be imminent. Death to the NWO. You got politicians today that are wide awake, like Nigel Farage in Britain, who I personally really like. These politicians are really waking up the rest of the world. It used to be like this. The NWO was a secret plan. Everybody was in on it. Now everybody's waking up from it and going, wait a minute, this is not such a great plan after all. Thank God they're waking up from it. You know, I don't see the NWO actually being passed right anymore because there's too many politicians that are waking up with it. But the devil is working overtime to get a system in order because he's failed several times in the past. You know that when Hitler took over Europe, he did it for only one reason. It wasn't for the master race. It was to create the European Union. What is it called? The TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And then you have the North American Union and all that shit. The European Union was the first one. Before World War II, there was no European Union, folks. Wake up. Just 50 years ago, there was no European Union. 60 years ago. Get it through your heads. You're all being set up. You're all being used. You're all being used as guinea pigs in a gigantic rat race. The West wants evil. The Middle East wants evil. Russia wants goodness. Russia has been cleansing their land, just like America should have been doing. Just like I've been telling you all that you have to do. You have to cleanse your country. You have to cleanse your country. You have to cleanse your country. Russia understands what happens if you allow too much sin to overrule your country. You will be under threat like never before because now you'll be under a supernatural threat. There are laws in this universe, whether you wish to believe in them or not, and these laws suggest that you cannot take part in certain behaviors or bad things will happen to you. Sodom and Gomorrah being the guideline. So Russia is cleaning up big time, and it's nice to see. But they stand alone right now. And I hope that more countries will start participating in Russia's events, and that Russia will start becoming the mega power of this world. Because they can actually control the power they're wielding. They're not wielding it wildly and recklessly like the United States is. The United States is a genuine threat to the entire world, to the entire planet. I would not be somebody who sits in a crowd in America and goes, USA, USA, USA. Because I'm disgusted with America. You all are foul, evil monsters. The things that America have done in the name of warfare, may God forgive you all for that. Millions of women and children killed, men slaughtered on the battlefield, all for nothing. All for fucking oil. Tricking everybody that died on the battlefield that they were fighting for democracy and freedom, when all they were really dying for was the oil fields. Like I said in my previous video, America, you need to bring back your critical thinking and start analyzing everything you see and everything you're told. Don't go along with it. Analyze it. Don't sit there thinking, oh, well, my country wants everything good for me, so I'll just go along with whatever it says. I want to keep my paycheck going, so I'll just do whatever they say. It's all too complicated for me, so I'll just stay out of it. Right now, Greece is definitely the hero. And they have been suffering for the last 5 years, trying to stay afloat, to try to beat the Antichrist system. The United Nations wants to combine the entire world into one religion, one world currency, and one world language. Is this what you want? Do you all want to speak? Do you all want to be speaking Arabic? The UN doesn't like you. The UN is not your friend. The UN has already invaded this whole entire country of America, and they're waiting to fucking strike. They're waiting for the people to go so crazy that they have to step in as the world police and put it all back together again. You all sit there and wonder about your Antichrist, yet he's already here. He's just not here in person, but his whole spirit is. It's sitting in Brussels today. You all can make a change for the difference. You all can make a change for the better, I should say. You all can just stop supporting the system and realize what you're doing every time you go to the gas station and you fill up your gas full of car. How you're supporting terrorism overseas. Understand the basic story, and then you will understand the details. I'll tell you the basic story. The world has sold out to Saudi Arabia, so that Saudi Arabia will now supply oil to all the countries, just like the Bible says it would do. Saudi Arabia has become the great whore, the great harlot of the world, who is now selling out all the fucking oil to every country that allows their people into their nation. So even though their people are totalitarians, ones that want to dominate and take over your nation, they have allowed these terrorists in for the supply of oil. And that's stated in the Bible, folks, right there. It says, it makes it very clear that the great harlot sits on a beast, and all the countries are drunk off of her wine. Her wine is the oil. Saudi Arabia is the beast. You all wonder why the West is turning demonic. It's because they're following the East. There was a trade agreement made between countries in exchange for allowing the people into your country and getting them accepted and allowing them to become totalitarian and start dominating. They would exchange oil in return. Look at America. Look at Europe. Where are the borders? They don't exist anymore. Why don't they exist anymore? Because they want to allow Islam in so they can continuously have the oil. There was an agreement signed, okay? Check it out on Google. I can't remember the name right now, but there's an agreement signed to exchange Muslims into the nation for oil, which is exact biblical prophecy. I want you all to start thinking about what you're doing in this world. Think. Sex is not the highest achievement in this world. Having children and all that is fine, but that's not the highest achievement in this world. The highest achievement is the relationship with God. And He will tell you everything about this world that you need to know. Everything. I almost know all the dirty, dark secrets. I understand the symbology in the world. I understand the symbology in the supermarket. I can't even... You know how hard it is for me to go fucking shopping? All the items I have to freaking leave because they've been gene spliced, or they've been, tube and fused together. Two different kind of entities have been fused together. These are all abominations to the Lord. You're not supposed to fuse anything. You're not supposed to recreate stuff. You're not supposed to use chemicals in that way. And then the Illuminati has the nerve to just boast in everybody's face what item is poisoned and what item is decent. And they do so through the symbology. And when you understand the symbols, man, if you look at the store, a whole lot different. It's like two different stores. It's like elitist supermarket and slaughtered pig supermarket. Let's not forget that the globalists want to kill off almost everybody on the planet. It's on the Georgia Guidestones. They're already doing it. When you go to your supermarket, man, you can see on the symbols what items to buy and what not to buy. The items themselves tell you which one has GMO in it. You don't need no GMO labeling. Just look at the logo. If you know symbology, you will know which food has GMO in it because they actually boast on the packaging which one has GMO in it. Don't you get it? This is the entire Satanist thing. It's all done in plain sight, right in front of your face, but you're not smart enough to realize what's going on. Do not buy any articles that are fusion, like Gillette Fusion or whatever kind of fusion out there. They are GMO and horrible for you and even blessed by the devil. Do not buy Halai or whatever they call it, Halai articles from the Middle East because they are blessed by Allah. Think about what you're doing. Do not buy articles out there that have a circle around the logo. What looks like the serpent eating its own tail. That might not be a serpent. It might just be an arrow. But if the tail of the arrow is going through the tip of the arrow's mouth, stay away from it because that also means fusion. Learn your symbology, folks, and you will see that you'll see everything differently in this world. I understand the mystery of the Colorado airport, where there is a demon in the suitcase, and the story goes that if when that day comes that the economy collapses and everybody runs to the mountains, that if you don't understand that symbology, and if you can't tell the guard what that demon in the suitcase means, that you are not going to enter into these caverns. This is how they work. They do everything in plain sight. Everything is in plain sight. But they hide it from you by using symbols that you don't understand. Study symbology. Type in Bible Prophecy Club and study symbology. That's a great place to start out. That's a great amateur hour to start out and figure out what some of these symbols mean. You all don't believe in demons, yet you have no idea what demons do on this planet. It does not matter what you believe in. It does not matter what you believe in. It does not matter what you believe in. And last time, it does not matter what you believe in. Your world leaders have a certain point of view, and they are following that view. And that view happens to be identical to the Bible. So whether you believe or not, they're still fulfilling biblical prophecy. Whether you believe or not, there is a God out there does not change the fact that there is a God out there. And I could prove this by also saying to you, even if you were the smartest man on the planet, could you dare say that you know everything in this universe? Your answer would be no. Would you dare say that you know half of everything in this world? Half of everything in this universe? Your answer could be yes if you were super smart. But that would still leave the other half that you don't know about. And could God not exist in that area that you don't know about? Case and checkpoint right there that you cannot say there is no God. As I've explained before in other previous videos, reality does not change because you want it to. You can create your own bubble inside of reality, but then you're just living in a false state of reality. And that's what we are seeing today in ginormous scale, is that every human being is now living off in their own little bubble inside of the planet. You can't do that. All these bubbles will burst one day because there is only one fucking reality. Sorry if I'm getting angry. It's just that I get annoyed always repeating this and nobody seems to understand it. There is one reality. And you can make alternate universes inside of this reality without a problem. But do not sit there in that alternate universe demanding that people that live in reality adjust accordingly to your wishes and your desires. This will not happen anymore. This will not take place anymore. We do not live on a plantation. You crazies out there need to understand that you are the problem. You and your big mouths are the problem. You have demands, but you don't contribute. Everybody out there today who's screaming and demanding contributes fuck all. But they demand everything. What does a feminist add to the life today that we know? What do they do for the positive? Absolutely fuck all. What do the social fucking warriors do? Absolutely fuck all for goodness. But they sure demand a lot. Wake up from the matrix. Trust your instincts. Trust your gut. Believe in what you believe and stand tall in that belief. Not only stand tall in that belief, project it outwards. Show it to others. And when they mock you and ridicule you, you stand tall for your beliefs because they are your beliefs. And that makes a lot more powerful statement than people that are standing up for their desires and their entitlements and their wants and their needs. You are standing up for your moral values, your core being, and your own beliefs, and that makes a hell of a lot of difference in this world. And that's why God also mentioned, that's why Jesus mentions the rock, like Peter is the rock. Peter was a man who stood for his beliefs. Don't you get it? When a man stands for his beliefs, he becomes a rock, an unmovable object that could only be killed or murdered for his version to go away. When Peter's being beaten on the island for healing on the Sabbath, he takes the beating and he says, take it in the name of the Lord. Take it for the Lord. Firm believer, even though he's getting beaten. I've had my leg set on fire twice this year, where I've had a severe, I'm not set on fire, I've had a severe fever, which led to a severe burn, and it's happened to me twice now that the same leg has gotten burnt very bad on the back. But I'm not turning away from God. Not at all. I blame the devil. Because there's two afflictors in this world. There's the afflictor of goodness and there's the afflictor of pain and evil. And if it's pain and evil that's making me suffer, then I know who to turn to. I say, okay, Satan, you're the one doing this. Because you're not rewarding my life. You're not giving me wonders. You're not giving me miracles. I'm getting shit on. It's clearly you, the devil, that's shitting on me. Why are you shitting on me? Because I'm close to God. Why? Why do you go after me? Because you know if you could take God, if you take me away from God, that'll be a real strike against them. You can't kill my beliefs. I mean, even the Muslims too. They keep killing Christian after Christian after Christian after Christian after Christian, and they never understand why these Christians are willing to die for their belief. They just don't get it. Stand for your morals. Stand for your self-value. Stand for your own self-respect. Stand up for your own ways of being. Stand up for your own beliefs. Stand up. It is time to rise. Sleeping giant of America, it is time to rise. It's time to take back. It's time to settle. It's time to even the score. It's time to cleanse. Every country in the world right now is cleansing except for the United States. They just keep getting worse and worse. One of the foulest things you could do as a country, many countries give God the middle finger all day long. But one of the foulest things you could do is to allow homosexual marriage into your country. That is plaguing your country. If you all go back to the story of Moses and the Pharaoh, Moses plagued the Pharaoh. What do you think is happening to America right now? I showed you last year when Boston was covered in 9 feet of snow. You think that's normal, 9 feet of snow? You think all the things that are happening to the United States right now, such as California drying up, is all by accident? Do you really think that everybody's just so clumsy and stupid they didn't make any preparations for all of this? You think that earthquakes that come and just strike out of nowhere and weather patterns that just strike certain areas are all just by accident? Even your media came out a couple of weeks ago and said that the weather seems to be goal-orientated, like it's after something. When will you understand? You live in a kingdom ruled by God. And if you screw with him, he will take you out. He will get vengeance upon you. You see things in this world happening all the time, but you don't give it to God. You hear stories of aliens, but instead of calling them aliens, you should be calling them fallen angels. But you don't call them fallen angels because that means that there is a Satan and therefore there is a God. You're all afraid of God as if he's like some giant abuser. And yet he's the most forgiving, loving, caring thing you could ever wish for. He's like everything you ever wanted in a parent when you were a kid and never had. So why don't you give in to him? Why don't you just hug him and say, okay, I've had enough of this world. Protect me. Love me. Let me be your kid. Let me in your family. Why do you all keep going head to head instead of looking towards him for answers? Your whole country, America, can be saved within minutes if everybody repented and turned back to God. And you cannot tell me there's not a clear pattern from the 1960s when you got rid of God to 2015, 50 years, 55 years now of you running free will and the destruction of your kingdom. First, your heart was removed. Detroit City. That was the beating heart of America. Then slowly other states started falling apart. And now you look at Detroit as the fallen state, which used to be your heart. Do you see that? America has no heart anymore. You're all giving in, bowing down, surrendering, and you're allowing evil to flood your nation. And when God looks at your nation, he no longer sees those that love him. He sees the foulness of the nation. And he has a job to do. His job is to create righteousness in this world. And if there is too much darkness in one area, he will wipe it clean and make it clean again. So whatever repercussions that come down upon humans for it, well, we had a choice. We could have cleaned it up ourselves, but we made God do it. And I hope you all understand that the year of the Jubilee, which is 2015, is the year of his great cleansing. I've explained before how the Bible, how God told us that we are supposed to use the land for 6 years. The 7th year, we have to let it rest. No farming, nothing. So in those 6 years, we store up for that 7th year. But if we don't do that and we farm on the 7th year, then we have another cycle of 7 years where we farm for 6 and let it rest the 7th year. But if we continue this behavior 7 times, where 7 times in a row we farm the land all 7 years and never let it rest 1 year, we come to the 50th year, because 7 times 7 is 49. And in that 50th year, which is 2015 now, God either cleanses the earth and gives it great rejuvenation, or he brings catastrophe. So we are now living in what they call the Shemitah year, that 50th year. And for 49 years, we've been disobeying God. Just like I said, since the 60s, we've been disobeying God. We took him out of schools. We brought in an evolution. We killed off his president and brought in the evil ones. America has been to war several times, killed millions of innocent people. You are really ripe with darkness in your country. And now the harvester is coming on the 50th year, this year. Why don't you repent? Why don't you remove your president? Clean up the country to God's standards and then ask God for forgiveness. He will turn your country back around, prosperous, filled with love and joy. And you'll be a nation again of God with us. Since you have betrayed God in the 60s, your country has gone to hell. Seriously, gone to hell. You have a choice to make. Turn back to God and repent, or go to hell. This is War Drums Fire. See you all later. This has been the video. Has the beast been dethroned? See you all later. Take care. Bye-bye.